and we are live again from Sonar+D here in the Congress Hall of Barcelona. I am welcoming with me two people that are a bit special here in this electronic music environment, and they're here to talk about a project that is what I would say a bit crazy.
Crazy-ish, yeah.
Crazy-ish. So these two people about to talk about a crazy-ish project are Yvan Dutil. Yvan, you're an astrophysicist. Thank you for being with us. And Ignasi Ribas, you're the director of the Institute for Spatial Studies of Catalogne. All right. So, in a few minutes, just after we end up this interview, you have a speech to give about something that is called the making of Sonar calling GJ273b. And that's about sending music to space, right?
Yep.
So how does one come up with the idea of sending music to space?
Well, this has been a 2-year-long project. So it started because Sonar wanted to celebrate the 25th anniversary big, let's say. And they came up with the idea of sending music to space, so making not only an Earth-based festival, but also bringing it to the stars. And then they got in touch with us scientists to do some supervision of the project. And then our role was mostly to pick up the correct target, to select a facility from where to do the transmission, to code the message, to put it in a format that could be potentially decodable, so it could be decoded, and then encode also the music and send the transmission out. So.
But aren't you scientists supposed to be the serious ones? How did you ever agree to something like that, Yvan, for instance?
Well, it's serious fun. But I've been involved in the past, and I've been contacted by the people of Sonar to, can you help? And there's a lot of technicalities inside those tasks that is not apparent when you start. Just how do you code music? I have no idea how they did this, but you have to think a way that would be easily understandable by someone who is not a human and not a human electrical engineer or something like that.
And someone who might not even have ears.
This is the worst case, but...
Yeah. No, I was not, I have to say, I was not easily convinced. Not because it's a crazy-ish project, and it means that for us scientists, we have to be a bit careful with what we get involved in. But in this particular case, the proposing team was so interested, and they said that this would be done in a very rigorous scientific way. And then I gave in, and then I got involved. And sure enough, it's been so much fun and so interesting.
You're not just sending music to any place of the sky, you're sending music to a very specific exoplanet that might have the right condition for life to exist on. And this specific planet is situated 12.5 light years away, so that it will take 12.5 years to go there, for the message to go there, and then another 12.5 years to come back. And so it's in total we might get an answer in 25 years. And this year happens to be the 25th anniversary of Sonar, so that's quite a coincidence, or maybe not.
It was not meant to be this way. I was given the freedom to pick any target that I wanted, let's say, from the point of view that would be the best habitable planet to which to send the message. The thing is that we're constrained by the facility from which we're sending the message. This means an antenna, which is in this case situated not far from the North Pole, which meant that we had to send the transmission to the Northern Hemisphere. This meant that this was the best target that we could think of. But remember, I talked about, it's actually a potentially habitable planet. It means that maybe it has liquid water on the surface. And maybe this liquid water has given rise to life, and maybe this life has evolved to be intelligent, and maybe they want to talk or listen. So it's really
and difficult. They have the technical means to talk back.
That's right. So, the chances that we get a response are extremely low, but still, it's an experiment, and it's a project, and who knows, if in 25 years we hear back, that will be a major news, actually.
So how do you make it happen, even, for instance? What are the technical issues you need to overcome? How do you do you already have the telescope? Do you need to build one? How does it work? How do you make that happen?
Well, the first part, the hardest part, is where you find an antenna and someone willing to share it with you. And you need to have a very big one and a very powerful transmitter to make it sounding clear far away. So there is not much in the world, and those tend to be buzzy. I don't know how they manage to do it because it's very hard. And once you have your antenna, usually you have to live with the technical performance of this antenna because you cannot change it. Those are custom made. You say, oh, it would be nice if we... No, we can't. This is the answer we receive most of the time. So live with that, do with that. So that's how we make our technical decision after for the design of the message. We had constraints and we lived with them.
Okay, and what type of music did you send, for instance?
Well, there was like 30 plus artists invited to contribute. Had, as Ivan was saying, we had very tight constraints regarding time, so that the pieces of music had to be no more than 10 seconds long, because we wanted to make the transmission as decodable as possible, which means that we had to be able to send these 12.5 light years away and not lose too many bits, let's say, of information so that the message could be decoded. This meant sending at a bit rate low enough so that this message could be decoded, and then this at the same time meant only 10 seconds per piece. So this was the constraints that the artists received, and then we put the message with a header and a closing part, and that we worked on, let's say, and these were the message that we transmitted.
Why music? Why not send some very interesting piece of poetry or philosophical essay, or why music?
Well, actually, music is rather easy because it's relatively simple. Because if we want to try a more evolved concept, because music, it's very tricky to teach what you mean. Just counting is a hard task. And then if you want to go to physics and then go further in biology, you can do this, but it's a very long process. And then if you want to go to philosophy and things like that, well, you need to construct all this vocabulary you learn since you are a baby. And it's very, very hard thing to do when you have maybe 15 minutes transmission to do. So you have to stick to most boring thing that are math and physics. And as you want to go to either thing, we have thought about that, those involved in design, but you are thinking about making a virtual reality, artificial intelligence, human, that you could discuss with. But we are thinking some things that's a million times harder than what we have done now.
Sorry, yeah. Go ahead.
No, we obviously this was Sonar's idea, and therefore sending music out is the main, the most reasonable thing to do for Sonar. And so that's the overall envelope of the project.
So let's try to sum up the ifs. So if we are pointing to the right planet, and if life happens to be there, if life is intelligent enough, if life has ears and they can hear the message, if they're technically advanced enough to talk back, if all those ifs and probably a lot more that I'm forgetting about happen, then in 25 years we will have a message.
If they're fast decoding it, so that the travel
as they need
time,
to decode it.
Yeah, the travel time is going to be 12 years and 145 days, which means that the message will get there sometime in late 2030. We know that for sure.
Okay.
They have to be, not only have ears, they have to be listening to us, let's say, pointing their antennas to the sun, and then listen to what's coming from the sun or the near neighborhood, let's say. And then they have to come down, decide. Actually, they don't need ears, really. It's electronic, so we're sending a radio transmission. We're sending electromagnetic waves, not sound waves. Okay. And therefore, they can decode that message. And if they decide to talk back, yes, another 12 years and 145 days. So this will be 2042, 2043.
Have you tried to assess the odds? How likely it is that we will hear back?
Well,
or you don't really want to think about it?
Well, we can do this, but it's just a speculation.
Okay.
We don't know how often life appears on the universe because we only know our instance of life. So we can think maybe we know that there's very many planets. We know that there's very many planets at the right orbital distance, meaning they're habitable. But the next steps into indeed habited by intelligent life, and so on and so forth. For now, it's pure speculation.
So what do? We meet again here in 2043
Sort of.
and see what happens?
Yeah, if the message is received before that, you surely will know.
Okay. Yes, that will make quite a fuss, I'm pretty sure. Well, thank you very much for answering my questions, Yvan and Ignasi. Thanks a lot for being here. And, well, we'll be definitely following this project very closely and hoping to hear back from them.
Thank you very much.
Thank
A
you.
pleasure.
Thank you very much.